Hello, my name is Rodrigo Suarez. I am a KSU student. I'm a junior, um, and I took part of the study abroad program in Europe, music history in Europe, and I took music history too, and jazz in Europe. So, did this experience change me, and how so? It did, but not in the sense that everybody made me believe that it was going to change me. Like all the almost like every instructor or almost every adult that you talk to will say to you, "Wow, this experience is going to make you into a different person." And to a certain degree, I expected that. I expected to go into a like hop on the plane, experience some third eye awakening, some something, and then come back and just act differently and be different. And the thing is that this didn't really happen to me or a lot of the colleagues that I shared this trip with. So we were wondering what did they mean by this is gonna change us, and I came to the conclusion that this is gonna change us, but in the long run. Like once you step off that plane and you're back home, you're back to the same state, you're going back to the same problems, you're the same person, you're going back to the same house, same room, same belongings, you're gonna have the same habits, and that's just gonna be you, you're gonna be the same person. The difference now is that you've experienced all of that. You have all those memories and all those lessons that you've learned, and yeah, all that experience to call from now on. So when life pops some kind of problem or something happens, you are now that much wiser and you are now able to see things differently. You might see a way out or a, a way of solving a problem or dealing with a problem that you may have just not seen before because now you have that experience. And in that aspect, you know, I think in the long run, this study abroad program will change all of us, every person that went, or hopefully will. What was the best part of studying music history in Germany and France? Okay, so outside of the historic, uh, like the historic importance of that region, of those countries, of those cities, I think it was very beautiful to see the culture and the culture's appreciation for music and high art, in particular high art music. Um, for example, I went to the Jazz Keller, and that was a great moment. I got to be in this little cellar where one, some of the greatest jazz musicians have played in, and it was surreal. Also, being in Bonn and visiting Beethoven's house and visiting the Beethoven Museum and seeing his violin and his scores, his hearing contraction that he used when he was losing his hearing. That was surreal too. Uh, but the main thing that stuck with me outside of all those little presentations and all those historical places and monuments that we went and visited, the main thing that stuck with me was the fact that people were so appreciative of the arts. The fact that you could go to a plaza and you might see like a trio of musicians playing classical music. That's not hard. That's not easy to play. It's pretty hard, and they would be doing it proficiently. And you would walk 12 meters that way, and you will find another violinist playing some other piece by Mozart or Beethoven or Vivaldi or something. And that was just like the norm. There was such a marriage between the beauty and the art of the architecture and the music and the rhythm of the people. So I thought it was beautiful. What advice would you offer to someone interested in this program? I would say just do it, just go for it. Everybody would want to travel out the country. That's not the hard part to want to do it. That's the very easy part. Um, but I know at least for my situation, I don't have like a financial resource strong enough for me to just take trips like this. And for example, I really just went because, well, at the beginning, I really just went because Trey told me about the Gypsy Jazz element of the trip, and I am a huge Gypsy Jazz fan, and I really wanted to see that. But the moment that I decided to say screw it, I'm actually just going to put the deposit down and gonna like full send and make this happen, was the moment that I sealed my fate and I was able to go on the trip. Granted, there was a lot of complications, and I don't know who's all gonna see this, but I know um, Professor Edward and Professor Trey would attest to this. Like there was a lot of complications with me in particular, um, with passports and this and fees and all this other stuff that popped up out of nowhere, and it was some of the most stressful experiences of my life. More or less, really more or less. It was pretty stressful though. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty stressful. Um, but like at some point, I really just made this decision in my head that I was gonna go no matter what, and it was highly unlikely for me to go, but I was just gonna do it no matter what. I didn't know how, but like I said, in my head, I sealed my fate, and my fate was to be in that plane and to go to Europe. And it's possible, and I think that's the most important step. And I think that's the catalyst to this whole thing, to just commit commit to it 100%, and then just make it happen, and then you don't have to stress about it every day from the point that you commit to the point that you get on the plane, but just keep a planner, keep some type of organization with it, so that you can keep on, checking off all the steps. So you can write down the steps and check them off, and then no matter of like how your financial situation is, I honestly like it might be possible. It was possible for me, and I have my family to thank to as well, because they supported me in many many ways. So yeah, really, my advice would be to just like, if you think you want to do it and you see a possible way, no matter how sketchy, just go ahead and commit, and it's gonna be 100% worth it. It might be even more worth it than to you than to other people, because you know how unlikely it was for you to do it in the first place. Um, so, what was the most important thing that I learned in this program? I learned a lot of nifty things about music history and jazz in Europe, but the greatest thing that I think that I learned from this program was just people, like human element, seeing how different we are, because we have different rhythms, and like our language correlates with like like that different energy that we bring to conversations, etc. um, but overall, that is really how similar we are, um, because like if you meet somebody in Paris or France, it's honestly a very similar experience outside of the language barrier. A very similar experience to meeting somebody in Piedmont Park or meeting somebody in the Commons. Like, you will feel as excited, as nervous, and as awkward, honestly, as if you were meeting somebody here in Georgia or here in the United States. Um, and it's that rewarding as well, because you see that we're all kind of the same people to a degree. Like, we all, if once we meet somebody new, we want to, tell them about what we listen to, tell them about ourselves. We want to hear from them, and they want to tell us about themselves too. They want to hear about us. Uh, they're excited to talk to a foreign person too, as just as how you're excited to talk to them. Like, we're very similar in that regard, and that kind of like puts a peace in my mind, and it helps me understand like I guess humans more, and or like just human nature more. And I mean, I find all that stuff just fascinating to begin with. But yeah, I honestly enjoyed so much being able to talk to somebody that barely knew English. Well, no, being able to talk to somebody that knew English, because like almost everybody there knows English, and I barely knew French or German. But outside of those language barriers, we were still able to have like a very pleasant conversation, and afterwards you feel great because you just had a conversation, a very pleasant conversation with somebody from another country, something that you don't really think about, and then it just happens. And I think that's I don't know, that's just really really amazing. Um, but yeah, like that's a very important thing that I'm a carry through my life. Um, any other information that I would like to uh, share with future students? Um, Not really. They do say that you should be jogging and preparing to walk a lot, and I'm not necessarily fit, but I can like go out and do physical activity. So I didn't really prepare for it, but nah, they're gonna have you walking nonstop, and honestly, I think it was great, and I'm grateful for it. But I would say that I was a bit underprepared for that. Um, Trey and Edward did a fantastic job at setting up the itinerary so that you experience the most out of like the 2 weeks that you have there. Um, but that's gonna take a toll on your body, especially if you want to, rent some bikes, go paddle boarding or whatever. That's it's gonna be tiresome. But so yeah, prepare for that a little bit. Go jogging prior to the flight, and oh, and listen to those language podcasts. Get Duolingo and start practicing. Get some phrase books. They're gonna be 100% worth it because you will be able to like finesse and learn some stuff and practice as you're in the sauce, as you're in Germany or France. But it is like annoying to not be able to speak their language because like you find their language to be fascinating and beautiful and you want to speak it and you hear how people speak it and they speak it so casually with all these different cadences and they speak German but like the same way that this girl speaks German is like completely different than the way this guy would speak German just based on their personalities and like you want to be part of that and it sucks that you can't be just because you didn't practice beforehand. So I think that's another advice that I would give to you guys if you do watch this video. But I think that's it. Thank you very much for your time and thank you very much for the trip. It was an absolutely amazing experience and I'm very happy that I got to be part of it. Thank you.